Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode and you won't miss out. So welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. Okay, at the end of the last episode, episode 3, the house guests were informed that the Spice Girls are playing behind a profile. And the house guests have to figure out which profile they're playing under. They don't know yet that if they do not figure it out, the grand prize goes up. So that's part of what the secret, what is it? The secret spice? I forgot the name of the mission. I think it's the secret spice. Anyway, so if no one detects the Spice Girls behind the profile that they're playing under, the grand prize goes up by $50,000. The house guests don't know that as of this moment. All right, so the house guests want to begin to investigate all of this. So they enter the circle chat, they begin to ask questions, and all are trying to decipher if the other's message is really the Spice Girls, so on and so forth. The next morning, everyone is going over the circle chat from the night before. They're working to try to sort out who are the Spice Girls playing the game as, right? So they begin to have private chats. Krista invited Frank into a private chat. These two both vibe very well together, and it appears that they have their own alliance, right? They discuss who they think the Spice Girls are catfishing. Frank sounds like he's on to Jared, right? Which is the profile that the Spice Girls are playing under. Krista sounds like she's on to John Carroll. Now, John Carroll, he's not playing, these are not the Spice Girls. John Carroll isn't the Spice Girls, right? Yeah, or aren't the Spice Girls. Yeah, Spice Girls aren't playing under Carroll. John Carroll is catfishing, right? John is playing as his mom, Carol. So I guess I'm trying to say that Frank and Krista both have good gut feelings about the catfishing that's going on in the game. And the two of them have identified 2 of the now what we have 3 catfish players in the game. All right. It's interesting because they both caught on to the catfishing profiles, or players, I should say. They don't know it yet, but they suspect it. All right. Alex Nathan, right? Alex is playing as Nathan. He invited the Spice Girls Jared into a private chat. Alex Nathan threw Rachel under the bus. And the Spice Girls Jared keeps it going by telling him, hey, you need to also check Alyssa's profile. We're suspicious of her because she mentioned something about spice in her write-up. And when he, meaning Alex Nathan, went to Alyssa's profile, he did see that hashtag small and spicy or something to that effect in her profile. So now Alex Nathan is suspicious of Alyssa. All right. Everyone gains more suspicion after the Spice Girls quiz, right? Especially Rachel, since her question was answered incorrectly and she's supposed to be a big Spice Girls fan. So now people are looking at Rachel saying, oh, did she do that intentionally? Is Rachel really the Spice Girls? You know. All right. Yu Ling invites Alex Nathan to a private chat, and her goal is to secure him as an ally in the game. She also planned to flirt, and that's what they did in their chat. They flirted with each other, and they flirted hard. They were calling each other snacks, and then they had the hashtag and I'm hungry. Okay. Rachel invited the Spice Girls Jared into a private chat, and her goal is to catch them in the slip up because Rachel feels like Jared is playing as the Spice Girls are playing as Jared. Remember, if the Spice Girls keep their game hidden, the prize goes up. So obviously, because Rachel is suspicious of Spice Girls Jared, they want to work hard to align with Rachel, right? To keep her off the scent. And they point Rachel in Alyssa's direction. So they did the same thing that they did with Alex Nathan by saying, hey, have you seen Alyssa's profile? Then Alyssa invites the Spice Girl Jared to a private chat. And it was so funny because once they answered Rachel's question, they abruptly left that chat to join the chat with Alyssa. And I thought, oh, that was a little harsh. I think they left too quickly on that. They didn't really end it in a way where it wouldn't look suspicious, right? So that was one of my observations. I like, oh, they just dropped. And actually, Rachel even made a comment. Well, okay, then, so I think they acted too quickly in the way they left that chat with Rachel to join the chat with Alyssa. But nevertheless, that's what happened. Then Alyssa, after Alyssa invited the Spice Girls again, the Spice Girl Jared dropped from Rachel's chat, went into Alyssa's chat. Alyssa is suspicious of Jared, of course. That's one of the reasons why she invited them into the chat. And it was funny how they got Alyssa to look at her own profile with the Spice hashtag. And at that moment, Alyssa, she didn't even realize that's what she put in there. And so I thought that was another mistake that they pointed that out to Alyssa. So not only they made two mistakes in a row, they dropped from the chat from Rachel abruptly, right? So now Rachel's like, I don't know. And then they're pointing out this hashtag in Alyssa's profile, and she's already suspicious of them. So I think that's where they made mistakes, 2 in a row. All right. Alex, Nathan, Rachel, and now Alyssa are thrown off the Spice Girls Jared sent. So they think. They're really not, but we'll talk about that in a moment. All right, Brew and John Carroll chat privately, and they discuss who they think, whose profile the Spice Girls are playing behind. Right? Finally, the players, then after all of their deliberation and talking with each other, the players vote for the profile they believe the Spice Girls are playing behind, and at least 5 players are fooled. If at least 5 players are fooled, $50,000 is added to the grand prize. And they kept mentioning that there are consequences. So we don't know what the consequences are yet, but we know if at least 5 of the players are fooled, if their guesses are incorrect, then $50,000 is added to the grand prize. So for the guesses, Brew, he guessed that Rachel. I'll just name I'll name the guests and then who they thought were the catfish, right? All right, so Brew guessed Rachel, which was incorrect. Alyssa guessed Jared, which was correct. Carol guessed Nathan, which was incorrect. Nathan guessed Rachel, which is incorrect. So right now, with those 4 votes, we have 1 correct guess and 3 incorrect guesses, right? And then they went through the rest of the house guests. Krissa guessed Carol, which is incorrect. Frank guessed Jared, which was correct. So we have 2 correct guesses, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last guess is by Rachel. And if Rachel guesses incorrectly, the grand prize goes up. If she guesses correctly, I think consequences are coming. I think that's how it's going, right? So they left us at the end of the episode. They left that as a cliffhanger. So we won't know who Rachel guessed. We won't know Rachel's guess until the next episode, which they released the next episodes 5 through 8 on May 11th. So next Wednesday, May 11th, episodes 5 through 8 will be released, and then we'll figure out who Rachel guessed. I suspect that Rachel guessed correctly, but you never know. I think part of the problem was the way that the Spice Girls left her chat abruptly, right? So I think Rachel guessed that Jared was the catfish, but we'll know for sure after the next episodes are released. In the preview for the upcoming episodes, we also see more players join the game. And I wonder if this would have anything to do with the consequences of their guesses. Not sure. Speaking of which, do you think that Rachel guessed correctly? You have to let me know what you think in the comment, okay? Or what you thought in the comment. All right. And that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thank you very much. My name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.